I've been seeing these COD Mobile is dying videos popping up once in a while on YouTube, and honestly, I'm getting a little tired of it.
I'm tired of you always running my life and criticizing me.
Now I get it. The things they say sometimes do sound kind of valid. But here's the thing, most of the time it feels like people are just doing this for views. There's no broader purpose behind it, no real value, just doom posting. And sure, I'm not saying CODM is a perfect game, it has its flaws, but at the same time there are so many counterpoints that prove it's far from dead. The game keeps pushing out new collabs, mythics, skins, events, balance changes, things that keep the meta fresh and give players reasons to come back. If a game was actually dying, you wouldn't see this much development effort is still going into it. So yeah, while those videos might grab attention, I honestly think they are way off the mark. COD Mobile isn't dying, it's still evolving. Another big complaint I always hear in these CODM is dying videos is about the meta weapons. And let me be clear, you really only run into this when you play ranked. I'll say it again, if you don't play ranked, this isn't even an issue for you. Now yes, right now the problem is the USS-9 being ridiculously strong, easily better than the other weapons. And I'm not going to deny that part is true. But here's what bugs me. People act like this is some brand new problem when it's really not. Meta shifts have been part of Call of Duty Mobile since the beginning. We've always had one or two weapons that dominate until the devs step in and balance things. So honestly, it just feels like these videos are targeting newer players who don't realize this has been happening for years, and they spin it like it's the end of the game, when in reality it's just the usual cycle CODM has always gone through. But here's the thing, if you're an older player, you already know this isn't anything new. Call of Duty Mobile has always done this. Since the very beginning, the pattern has been the same. They introduce a new weapon, it's really strong for about 2 or 3 seasons, and then it gets nerfed into the ground. After that, barely anyone uses it again. Now of course, that doesn't happen with every single weapon, but it definitely happens with a lot of them. And honestly, I don't even know what criteria the devs use to decide which weapon gets to be the star for a while. But whatever the process is, it's just normal CODM. It's been part of the game's DNA since day one, so acting like this is some shocking new issue is just not true. Let me give you some examples so you see what I mean. Back in the day, the MSMC was insanely good. At one point, it was just completely broken. Then later we had the MX9, which everyone remembers, and of course the MAC-10 had its moment too. More recently, the BP-50 was dominating the meta, and honestly the list just goes on and on. What's interesting is that a lot of these weapons also happen to have mythic blueprints. Now I don't think that's always a coincidence, but at the same time you can't say it's all just some master plan to force players into buying mythics, because even guns like the MSMC and the MX9, they didn't actually launch with mythics. It's more that players start using these weapons, they get comfortable, and naturally they become strong in the meta until they eventually get tuned down. That's just how COD Mobile works. Now this isn't something you see in every game. Take PUBG Mobile for example. Pretty much everybody runs the M416 as their main weapon. Then they'll pair it with a shotgun or a sniper as their secondary. But the M416 is the gun over there, and nobody really finds that boring. People are fine using the same weapon year after year. But in Call of Duty Mobile, it's different. The devs actually do a really good job of rotating which weapons are strong and keeping the meta fresh. Personally, I think that's a great thing. Instead of sticking with the same gun for years, we're constantly getting variety. Like if you go back to 2019 in PUBG, people were using the M4 then, and here we are years later, people are still using the M4. That doesn't really change. So honestly, I don't get why people complain when CODM shakes things up. To me, that's what keeps the game interesting. And the next complaint I always see is about the nerfs and buffs, especially when it comes to perks like martyrdom or some of the other big changes. But honestly, those updates are what keep the game interesting. Remember, this video isn't sponsored by Call of Duty Mobile or anything. I'm just here breaking down the facts and showing why a lot of these complaints don't really hold up. Take martyrdom for example. People complain about it, but it's actually a good thing, especially for newer players. Imagine a new player who struggles to get kills. If they manage to at least take down half an enemy's health, and then the perk activates, they can still secure that instant kill. That helps them feel like they contributed and keeps them engaged in the game instead of feeling completely powerless. So while some veterans might find it annoying, perks like martyrdom actually play an important role in balancing the experience for everyone. And honestly, I think that's a little bit satisfying for new players coming into the game. Sure, it might not feel great for everyone, but it does add an interesting twist. And let's be real, most of these complaints only really matter if you're grinding ranked. But Call of Duty Mobile isn't just about ranked, right? This game is huge. You've got so many other modes to play. If you don't want to deal with that stress, go jump into Battle Royale or dive into zombies. People really need to stop sleeping on the zombies mode. There are tons of exclusive camos to unlock, tasks you can grind out in your free time, and rewards that make it worth your while. And then of course there are all the multiplayer playlists that rotate in and out. One week you'll have gun game, the next it might be something wild like big head mode. Seasonal events, limited time challenges, all of that adds a ton of variety and keeps things fresh. So why just sit in ranked and complain? COD Mobile is massive, it's got so many modes, so much to do. Why not explore it instead of being stuck in one lane? And you know what else? I see some creators constantly saying ranked is boring, that they hate playing it, and honestly I don't get it. Sure, it can get repetitive, but that's not a reason to sit there being upset at the game. The question is, why stick only to ranked? What's the point? There's literally no point in limiting yourself like that. Me personally, I jump into a ton of casual matches. I'm not stressing about whether the US 9 is dominating or not. I've got a massive inventory with legendaries and mythics to try out, and I'm actually having fun. That's the whole point of the game, right? Fun. So when I hear people just crashing ranked and then extending that negativity to COD Mobile as a whole, I'm like, what are we even doing here? Let's be real, a lot of that is just for views. Because they're not giving any real solutions to improve the game, and they also know ranked has always been this way since day one. And here's the truth. Numbers don't lie. COD Mobile is still massive. I think the peak might have been last May. But either way, the active player base is still insanely big. Whether people like it or not, this game is far from dead. I even play on emulator sometimes. And when I queue solos, I still find matches. That should tell you everything. Plus, I'm actually super hyped about the updates they are bringing to Battle Royale movement. It shows the devs are still pushing the game forward, not letting it stagnate. And after that, I really feel like this update could become a serious threat to PUBG Mobile, which right now has the biggest share of the Battle Royale player base. If COD Mobile nails these improvements, it could finally shift things around and give players a real alternative. I'm super excited to see how it all plays out. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep up with all the latest COD Mobile news, updates and discussions, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out and keeps you in the loop for everything coming next.